Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. Perfect timing, y'all.
It's a bad song. Love this cat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, it is Wednesday. How are you? You've tuned in to Selling Sacramento. I am Agent Key, and just a quick reminder that this show is brought to you every Wednesday by Matthews and Company Realty Group. And I am the broker and realtor and owner of Matthews and Company Realty Group. And I've been practicing real estate for over 17 years, helping hundreds of families buy and sell real estate. And if you'd like to discuss buying and selling, give me a call at 916-370-1803, or you can go to my website at agentkey.com, agentkee.com. And in the upper left, just schedule an appointment to chat with me. Tell me what it is that you're looking to do, and I'm happy to help. And on today's show, we are talking about home ownership in 2022. Run and get something to write with. This is looking to be a really good year to buy if you can get in. And I'm saying that because for the past several months, I've been coming to you with the stats on the market, and the numbers have been going up and down, somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 every month. That shows that the market is flattening. The trend right now, momentarily, is that the market is flattening. We know that interest rates are set to go up in about a couple of months. The Feds are looking to increase interest rates in March. And if you look at the overall trajectory of real estate since the crash, if we go back to 2004, between 2004 and 2008, we still are not at the height that the market was price-wise in 2008. So that means that there is still room for this market to go up within the next 5 years. You don't want to be that person that says shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know, as we think about the Doge coin, for those of us who bought Doge when it was 0.0003 something, and we only threw $20 at it, or we only threw $100 at it, now wishing we could turn the clock back and had thrown $1,000 at that thing. You don't want to be that person, right? And we also want to look at the reality for a lot of people that getting into home ownership can be a challenge, something that we don't even consider because of three main reasons: tax issues, bad credit, and cash flow. So we're going to address all three of those today. I want to equip you with the tools necessary so that you have the courage and the resources to tackle those issues so that you are ready for home ownership in 2022. So let's get started with tax issues. We're talking about tax issues, bad credit, and cash flow for home ownership because those are the things that will be required. You'll be required to provide your tax statements to the mortgage professional that you'll be dealing with, who'll be pre-qualifying you. If you're going to finance your purchase, the mortgage lender that you speak with will require that you disclose your tax status the past 2 years. You'll be required to send in your tax documents. Your taxes will either need to be paid up, or you will need to be in some type of repayment program with the IRS, a formal repayment program where you can document it, send the documentation to the lender that shows this is what it is. And so for a lot of people, when we get mail from the IRS, when we know we're behind on our taxes, we don't even want to open up the envelope. And we don't want to open up the envelope because we know it's just something that we can't deal with, we can't handle, so we put it behind us. You might even be making enough money right now to buy a home, but you can't because that tax situation is getting in the way. And so I want to share with you today some resources on how to prepare, how to resolve your tax issues. And I want to start directly with the IRS. Sometimes the solution is with the person that we've got the problem with, right? You got to know what are the options to solving your tax problems with the IRS. And so I want to encourage you, and I want to encourage you to do this because I personally have had to do this myself. There was a time when the IRS was, and they may still be, I don't know, but they were specifically targeting auditing real estate professionals after the market crashed because, you know, they have this way of estimating or guessing who's going to be their next prime target based on how financials are flowing in the economy. So right now, you guess who they're targeting? Cryptocurrency holders. Yeah, right? They're trying to get some of that money. They're trying to get money where the money's being made. So at the time, they were trying to get their targeting agents because that's where the money was being made. So you got to figure out how to solve the problem. Don't let it sit there like an elephant in the room. There's a way to figure it out. So if we start with the IRS and we take a look at what the options are. I'm going to, when we're done talking about tax solutions, at the end of each category, when I talk about the taxes, when I talk about bad credit, when I talk about cash flow, at the end of each portion that I speak about, I'm going to give you some resources so that you can actually reach out and work on getting your solution solved. So let's go to taxes. The first thing that I want to talk to you about are the type of tax problems and how to solve them. So tax problems, they come in different forms. IRS tax problems, they can be state tax problems, or they can be sales tax problems. Tax authorities are constantly increasing their tax enforcement efforts through tax collections and tax audits. Those are those envelopes that we don't open. Those are those phone calls that we don't take. And when taxpayers receive that dreaded tax notice that their tax return or their business is going to be audited and examined, the first thing that you should do is seek professional advice. The same thing happens when taxpayers receive collection letters threatening to levy and garnish your wages or your paychecks, or the levy or they tax levy, the letter saying that they're going to tax levy your bank account. You should seek professional tax advice to resolve your tax problems. So here are some of the most common options to resolve your tax problems. Number one, of course, is full payment. Paying the amount on the tax notice and avoiding confrontation with the tax authority. Most of the time, this option is not the best option for the taxpayer because often the tax bill is often inaccurate or it is well above our financial means and ability to pay. But full payment is the first option. The second option is to pay the correct tax only. If you know that your bill for your taxes is incorrect, paying the actual amount of the taxes, if you can afford it, is usually a good solution to your tax problem. This will entail, though, with you working with the tax authority to abate the penalty assessed. So you got to call them. You got to tell them, hey, this is wrong. And if you pay it, send them the money, call them and tell them, get the payment out there, because sometimes it's difficult to get them to respond. You're on the phone, the wait times are just crazy. So start the process by sending the correct payment out that you think it should be, again, if you can afford it, and then reach out and communicate with them and let them know that you've sent the correct payment. And the success of doing this is based on reasonable cause and not willful neglect. So you got to be able to describe what it is that happened as well. The third is a pretty popular one, and that's an installment agreement. Pay the tax amount through an installment agreement. It's a common way to resolve your tax problem. Again, seek professional advice, and the tax authority will usually request a large monthly payment. while professional tax representatives will work on attaining an installment agreement that's reasonable and that you can live with without causing financial and economic hardship on you and your family. So if you deal directly with the IRS and trying to come up with a tax arrangement, oftentimes they will help you come up with a tax repayment plan that you can afford. If you didn't know that, think about that. Don't be afraid of them. The IRS has actually, and I hesitate to use the word relax because they've not relaxed, but they have adjusted their methods over the past decade quite a bit, quite a bit. The fourth is called an offer and compromise. The offer and compromise, or often referred to as OIC, will usually be accepted by the tax authority to resolve your problem if the amount offered to settle your tax problem is equal or exceeds the taxpayer's reasonable collection potential. The IRS or the state or the sales tax agency determines that by assessing your financials. They use a financial analysis tool to assess how much you can actually afford to pay in one lump sum. No matter which option is correct to resolve your tax problem, usually there are more than one viable option, and that's the good part. So it's essential that you comply with the tax law going forward once you get that in place. And that is all tax returns, filing them timely. Estimated income taxes and payroll taxes must be paid timely. Now, out of those four options, what if you can't resolve your tax problem with the IRS? There's yet another way. And this is a route that I went through. Another route that I went through, I should say. I've had two problems with the IRS. But this I found out accidentally. And if I can tell a quick story, I was on hold with the IRS. I remember it had something to, I don't remember the exact details, but it had something to do with my daughter going to college and them needing information about my taxes and them saying, the school saying they didn't get it in time. There was some kind of mix up or problem that was on the IRS. And I had record of my communication and just a bunch of stuff. And I remember the day that I was on a particular call, I was talking to an IRS agent, and it sounded like they were talking to me from their kitchen. I could hear dishes clanging in the background. I could hear a baby crying and cabinets, the doors and stuff. And then someone told me, yeah, a lot of these tax reps, they work from home. The IRS people, when you call, customer service, they're working from home. And I'm like, what, really? So long story short, the person I spoke with said that they did something for me and they didn't. And they made note of the conversation, so on and so forth. And I ended up having to call back because I found out later on that they didn't, and it caused a huge issue with my daughter trying to go to school. And I got connected to the Taxpayer Advocate service. This is an extension of the IRS. They sort of operate separate from the IRS because the IRS is accountable to them. They're not accountable to the IRS. They have access to IRS information, and they are set up to be a consumer advocate extension arm for you against the IRS. And that website is taxpayeradvocate.irs.gov, so that you know that it's legit. .irs.gov. Taxpayer Advocate, TAXPAYER ADVOCATE. taxpayeradvocate.irs.gov. Contact the Taxpayer Advocate Service. They are an independent organization within the IRS whose employees assist taxpayers who are experiencing economic harm, who are seeking help in resolving tax problems that have not been resolved through normal channels, or who believe that an IRS system or procedure is not working as it should. There is a toll-free number to contact them, and it's a case intake number at 877-777-4778. That number again is 877-777-4778. And again, this is another option in the event you're having issues with someone at the IRS going through regular channels, trying to get your tax situation resolved, especially during this time of COVID. We know it's been a challenge. I can't imagine trying to reach people down at the IRS. So you definitely want to take advantage of the Taxpayer Advocate Service. Again, they are an independent organization within the IRS. And I've personally had to use them and had wonderful success with them. Someone answered my call. They assigned my case right away. Super empathetic. I'm not a touchy-feely person, but I cried about the situation I was going. I don't cry often. I probably cry twice a year. And that was one of those times that year that I cried. And the gentleman heard me. He said, "That is horrible. That should not have happened to you." He took everything down. He said, "I see the notes here. I see the call that you made. I see what the person said they were going to do. They didn't do it." And then he pulled up all of my information. He said, "It's right here. What you said you sent in. Yeah, you sent it in. We got it. We had it 3 months ago." And so, if I had to go on Yelp and give the IRS Taxpayer Advocate Service a shout out, I would give them 5 stars. They're very empathetic, very timely. The person who had my case followed up with me on a weekly basis. Whenever I'd call her, she'd take my call, and then sometimes she'd call me. But she worked with me until we got it resolved. So again, I am in full support of you reaching out to the Taxpayer Advocate Service. And before we go on break, like I said, I want to give you some resources so that you can actually start working on your tax situations. Those are that I think I gave you 4, maybe 5 options of things that you can do. But the main thing is to open up those letters and start working on it. But the most important thing is to contact a tax professional. And I'll tell you guys who I personally used and vouched for, and they have been absolutely amazing. And you'll hear, you've probably seen commercials about tax services, people that will help you fix your tax situations. When you hear about those companies, look them up, check online, see what other people are saying about them, because there are some of these companies who are not looking out for your best interest. They're, and I'll just leave it at that. But use common sense and know that whoever you speak with needs to be empathetic about your situation, because everybody's financials are different. Everybody's situation is different. So I'm going to share with you who I used. I used a company who's based out of Sacramento right here, and they're called Tax Tiger. And Tax Tiger Services, their corporate office is here in Sacramento. They have a lot of offices, I believe throughout the country, but quite a few, I believe, in California. But they are a faith-based business, and it was founded in 2002 by Kathy Hill. And she's still there. She's the owner. I dealt with her personally. I think that everybody, I'm not sure, but I believe everybody who goes through there deals with Kathy personally. But she has an amazing supportive team, very analytical. They're all about the business. They're all about trying to get your stuff resolved. So if you go to them, you better have whatever they need, give it to them. Don't sugarcoat anything. Don't go in with ulterior motives. They'll sniff you out in a moment. I love Kathy and I love her team. They've been absolutely amazing, and I highly recommend them. And they are located at 6355 Riverside Boulevard, Suite L. And their phone number is 866-677-3829. 866-677-3829. And their website is tax-tiger.com. Tax hyphen, make sure you put the hyphen in there, tiger.com. And you can tell them Keisha Matthews referred you, Agent Key, 97.5 FM KDEE. I don't get anything from that, but she's a wonderful person. It's a wonderful company, and they will get your stuff resolved. My second referral, once you get your taxes resolved, you need someone to help you stay on top of it. If you are, especially if you're a small business, one of the biggest challenges we have as small business owners in the African American community or minority community is that financial arm. We do the thing we do very well, whether it's, owning a restaurant, or not owning the restaurant, but cooking the food, braiding the hair, cutting the hair, building the doohickey, selling the clothes, whatever that thing is that we do good. We usually do that very well because that's the gift. That's the area we're talented in. But the part where we're weak, but we still need to make our businesses survive, is that financial arm. And part of that financial arm, part of being CFO, Chief Financial Officer of your company, is making sure your taxes are paid on time, estimated, paid on time, and paid consistently. You need someone to do that if you can't do it. It's not a simple matter of downloading an app or buying a program and trying to do it yourself. I'm telling you, I've been there, I've done that. It doesn't work. That was not one of my strengths. And it wasn't until I reached out to professionals and gave up the money to do it that my financial situation improved. And so someone that I'm going to recommend to you to do that, to help you, you need a bookkeeper, you need an accountant. You don't need a CPA. I use a CPA. You may not need a CPA. That's like you don't want to, that's expensive. You don't have to do that. I had to do it because I had a whole bunch of tax issues and things going on. 17 years of real estate had to get unraveled by, somebody who knew how to do it. That may not be your situation. Your situation might just be, you just need to make sure your stuff gets paid on time. You might just be starting out. So what am I saying? Saying that you need to contact Prime Tax and Accounting Solutions. The owner and CEO is Miss Rue Gumanyu. She's been on the show before. And Rue's number is 209-496-1982. 209-496-1982. I'm recommending Rue because I've seen her work. I've seen her commitment. I've seen her results, and I've seen her testimonials. I know that she does what she says she's going to do. There are other accountants out there who are just as good. I just recommend that you get in touch with them, connect with them, and make it happen. Again, her number is 209-496-1982. Tell her Agent Key sent you. Not getting anything from it, just trying to make sure that we are all utilizing the resources that we have right within our circles, who we know do a good job at what they do. They are good at what they do. Nobody's perfect, but for those people who are good at what they do, we need to lift them up. We need to refer them. We need to utilize them. That's how we all grow together. That's how we all eat at the same time, right? Nobody's starving. So if you reach out to Rue, you're helping her business. She's helping your business grow. Your business does better. You make more money. Then you turn back and you help somebody else. Wash, rinse, repeat. That's how the cycle works. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. I didn't have my glasses on. I'm trying to be a crazy woman looking at all this information without my spectacles. Hey, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Miss Tara, Nikki, Ernestine. Hey, ladies. Yes, paying it forward. Yes, Rue is awesome. Hey, if you guys are watching, drop me a line, say hello, so I know that you're out there. Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you for typing that in. I didn't have time to type that in. Thank you. I'm going to have to post that back up there. Taxpayeradvocate.irs.gov. Yes. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. When we come back from the break, we're going to go into the next portion, which is credit restoration. Yes, we got it all right here. Hello, is it Zanelle? That's a pretty name. Hello, Mrs. Zanelle. Hey, Eddie, how you doing, sir? Good to see you out there. Happy New Year. Miss Tisha, hi. Hey. Denisha, how are you? Hey, lady. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Did I get through all my tax information? Oh, I need to share one more piece of tax information before we get into credit. I'll share this when I come back. That's very important. Okay.
Experiment with almost anything to improve and maintain their good looks. By the time most girls reach age 16, they've worked their way from one end of the drugstore cosmetics aisle to the other. What works for you? It's an exclusive
I print out stuff in larger font now, so I don't have to struggle with it. I guess
I'm really funny. I was just thinking the same thing about me. I'm like, man, I think my eyesight is finally starting to
change
for the worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. You know, I've never, but it's not where I was going with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's this chair. It's messing with my nerves. When it messes with my nerves, it messes with my eyesight.
What?
So I felt better. I was like, when I shut up in the back, oh, no, you good, dog. Because the first time it looked a little blurry. I'm like, you good.
You're so silly.
No, that's the thing with this back issue. When it clears up bad, it messes with everything.
Oh, man. Yeah, you got to get a hold on that.
I can't do nothing about it.
Wow.
Pray
about it. Yeah.
1. We're live.
Hey, everyone. We're back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE, and we are talking about preparing for home ownership in 2022, the 3 areas where we require the most help and attention in our financials in order to prepare for home ownership is dealing with our tax situations, restoring our credit, getting our credit ready, and cash flow. So before the break, I gave you a ton of information about fixing options towards fixing your tax situations. I also wanted to let you know that there is, under that Tax Advocate Group website, and let me go back here because one of our viewers, Miss Tara, was so awesome to type in the website URL, taxpayeradvocate.irs.gov. If you go to that website, you will also find what's called the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. I want to share this information with you really quickly before we move on to credit, because when we're dealing with our taxes, that in and of itself, just the word IRS is so intimidating for most people. We don't even want to deal with it, right? But if we want to get into home ownership, it is a part of the process. We will have to deal with that. We have to resolve it. And again, as I stated at the beginning of the show, your taxes either need to be paid up or you need to be in a formal repayment program with the IRS. I gave you some options on how to make that happen. And I want to talk about the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. On the website taxpayeradvocate.irs.gov, there is a Taxpayer Bill of Rights. And in 2014, remember I said within the past decade, the IRS has been making some changes and some amendments to their processes because they know that its citizens, the United States citizens, are fearful and angry. You know, the IRS, they don't sit pretty in our eyes, yet they're collecting all of these taxes from us. And as we move into a different type of society where we are more vocal about what our government is doing, that whole tax system is at risk because the people may rise up and decide we don't need you anymore, IRS. And I've heard that before, change the tax code, forget the IRS, let's just do this. So in 2014, they adopted a Taxpayer Bill of Rights, and it applies to all taxpayers in their dealings with the IRS. The Taxpayer Bill of Rights groups the existing rights in the tax code into 10 fundamental rights and makes them clear, understandable, and accessible. So the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, the first one, I'm going to name all of them. The right to be informed. Taxpayers have a right to know what they need to do to comply with tax laws. I'm not going to go into great detail because I want to get through the other items. But you can go to taxpayeradvocate.irs.gov and get the same list. Click on the Taxpayer Bill of Rights and you can see this. The right to quality service. Taxpayers have the right to receive prompt, courteous, and professional assistance in their dealings with the IRS, to be spoken to in a way they can easily understand, to receive clear and easily understandable communications from the IRS, and to have a way to file complaints about inadequate service. Now, I'm going over this Taxpayer Bill of Rights because everything that I'm saying, there is a process now in place that if these things are not happening to you, you have a right to go back and have someone advocate for you or advocate for yourself to fix this. And you can find success in doing it. Number 3, you have the right to pay no more than the correct amount of tax. Number 4, you have the right to challenge the IRS's position and be heard. Number 5, you have the right to appeal an IRS decision in an independent forum. Taxpayers are entitled to a fair and impartial administrative appeal of most IRS decisions, including many penalties, and have the right to receive a written response regarding the Office of Appeals decision. Taxpayers generally have the right to take their cases to court. Next, you have the right to finality. Taxpayers have the right to know the maximum amount of time that they have to challenge the IRS's position, as well as the maximum amount of time the IRS has to audit a particular tax year. They have a right to know when the IRS has finished an audit. Next, you have a right to privacy. Taxpayers have the right to expect that any IRS inquiry, examination, or enforcement action will comply with the law and be no more intrusive than necessary, and will respect all due process rights, including search and seizure protections and a collection due process hearing where applicable. You have the right to confidentiality. You have the right to retain representation. And that's where, when we spoke earlier about the tax advocacy groups or the companies that are out there saying that they will help you fix your tax situation, Taxpayers have the right to retain an authorized representative of their choice to represent them in their dealings with the IRS. They have the right to be told that if they cannot afford to hire a representative, you may be eligible for assistance from a low-income tax preparer clinic. So the IRS has information for how to access low-income taxpayer clinic assistance as well. And then you have the right to a fair and just tax system. So I'm sharing this information with you to help you get a better understanding that the IRS, I will go as far to say this, they're taming themselves. They're trying to repackage themselves as more compliant. That may not be necessarily the right word. Amicable. They're trying to be more fair. They're trying to position themselves to say, you don't have to be afraid of us. And we're not just saying that to get you to come in and then we're going to clobber you. Not only do you don't have to be afraid of us, but we really want to help you fix your tax situation. I'm not going to go all the way and say their customer service is excellent. It's not. They've got a long way to go in comparison to the Taxpayer Advocate group that I discussed earlier, again, which is an extension of them. The IRS is accountable to them. So if you need assistance that you're not getting from the IRS, contact the Taxpayer Advocate group at taxpayeradvocate.irs.gov. Now I want to move on to credit. Once you get your taxes taken care of, now we need to work on credit. One of my biggest pet peeves with, how shall I say it? One of my biggest pet peeves with real estate transactions where what's the name of them? Where someone tries to set a price with you in advance to buy your home. What am I trying to say? People ask me about it all the time, where you can buy it from the seller, rent to own type, that type of thing. How come I couldn't think about that? I just knew that the principle is so rent to own, buy to own, rent with an option to buy. You may or may not have heard me say this. I don't like that concept and it's not just because it's a concept that I just don't want to like. There's a reason. The reason is it only serves the owner of the property, and they are lightweight taking advantage of the buyer. Unless it's a situation where you're in a house that you absolutely love, you've been in it for years, it's ideal, it works for you. If you could qualify to buy a home, that's the house you'd buy. Then I'd say try to work it out if the owner made that proposition to you. Otherwise, most people who want to take advantage of rent to own situations or option to buy situations is because they're experiencing either a tax issue, a credit issue, or a cash flow issue. Now, I want you to walk through this with me. When you get into that contract, that owner is going to ask you to come up off of a certain amount of money up front just to secure the deal. It's standard procedure. Secondly, They're going to tell you possibly that part of your rents either can or cannot be applied to the transaction. They're going to set a price up front for the purchase of the property that may or may not be to your benefit. The majority of the times it's not to your benefit, because they're going to argue that, okay, you get to exercise your option to purchase this in 2 or 3 years. And you think, amazing, wonderful, I got 2 to 3 years to get my stuff in order, right? I got 2 to 3 years to fix my credit. And you think that's an awesome opportunity. And then their argument is, since I'm giving you 2 to 3 years, shoot, in 2 to 3 years, this $375,000 house is going to be worth $400,000 or $450,000. So that's the price that it's going to be. That's the price that we're agreeing to. And because you don't see a way out, because you don't have the details about how this industry works, you think you're getting such a great deal and you feel emboldened to walking this out with this owner, you agree to it. Can I tell you that whatever your credit situation is will not take you 2 or 3 years to fix? Can we first just start there? Whatever your credit situation is, 9 times out of 10, it can probably be resolved within 3 to 6 months. And if it can't be resolved within 3 to 6 months, you got some other issues that probably aren't credit related. You've got some other issues that keep affecting or impacting your credit that you probably need to deal with, like cash flow or money management, learning how to budget properly. Some other issues that have nothing to do with either of those. Maybe you've got some medical issues, or you've got some emergencies, financial emergencies going on, but it won't take you 2 or 3 years. Therefore, I don't like this option to buy type scenarios. I think that it's a way to squeeze, again, put a squeeze on the most vulnerable buyers, who just so happen to be minorities, because they are not in a position to immediately purchase. And I'm telling you today that if you work on these things independently, if you know what they are, if you are armed and equipped with the tools to work on them, you can position yourself to buy, and you don't have to be beholden to someone. One house. When you are in a contract with an option to buy, you don't get to choose that one house is your only option, or whatever inventory that person might have, which still limits you in what you can choose. And the ability, once you become qualified to buy, one of the wonderful things about purchasing a home is in the shopping. You get to go and look at these houses and wait till you get that feeling when you walk into a home and you're like, this is the one, this is it. You want to have the freedom, the ability, and the flexibility to do that. You don't get that when you enter into an option to buy. And I'm starting off with that as a precursor to credit, because when you get ready to exercise that option to buy 2, 3 years down the line, guess what? Your credit still has to be fixed. You still have to qualify for the loan. And I'm saying it won't take you 2 to 3 years to qualify. So don't feel like you have to rush into some kind of lease option agreement to secure a property. Instead, work on the issues that are preventing you from qualifying for a regular mortgage, which will then in turn give you the options to look at any home you qualify for, and not just that one, under terms that are legal and ethical and binding, that are not going to put you in some kind of circumstance that you now can't get out of, and now you got to turn around and sue the owner. I've seen that happen twice twice in my 17 years where someone has come to me after the fact. They've entered into some type of lease option agreement. They were living in the house. They started making improvements. Oh, because, I feel like it's my house now. And then the owner turns around and does something. Now things are falling apart. So I don't recommend you do that. Let's talk about why credit scores matter. It is 1:45, y'all. Okay, we're going to take a break. And then we're going to come back, talk about credit. I'm going to give you an awesome opportunity to work on your credit. We're going to close it out with some ways to increase your cash flow. And we're going to call it a day, y'all. But we're going to take a break and be right back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key. I didn't realize it was 1:45.
Well, we went to almost 1:30 for the first segment.
You're right. Okay, so when we come back, I need to make sure I get all this information in. So let me see what's going to be the best part to do. I might just have to do this. Let's see. Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. When we come back from the break, I'm going to give you all the credit restoration information. And then information on how to increase your cash flow. See if we can get that all in how many minutes. When we come back from the break, it'll be, we're a 2-minute break, right? 3 minutes?
Music goes for 2 minutes and then PSA.
60-second PSA. Okay. So I'll have like 6 minutes. 6-7 minutes. Okay.
We're stretching the best we can.
All right.
The main thing actually though is that we gotta make sure we get see the other thing is we do it too, so if you have to rebroadcast, everything was still lined up. So if that's not really a priority, then we all
No, of course.
well, I like to play things so we all know the same.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
And I can really like it sometimes, but sometimes it hits me. I'm like, man, I kind of like it. Other times I'm like, yeah, I want to do that good now.
Denise Williams is
The bomb.
yeah.
Yeah. That don't mean every song. I like Gladys Knight, it's my favorite, but I don't play all her songs.
Okay. Teacher said, just talk fast. Girl, I will try. Yes. Thank you, Tara. So much information. So little time. I need a 2-hour show.
Oh my God, it's good though.
Hey, Derek. Thank you for joining us.
I know people that make card, but some of the situations you were talking about, I'm like, wow.
Yeah. We got to deal with it. There's no, and I know it's scary. It's like, I would just rather just leave it there and not deal with it and just keep doing what I'm doing. But then I'm mad about my situation.
Right.
It's like, but if I'm mad about my situation, that means I got to do something about it.
That's right. That's the one great thing has been for engineering, for you, and also for Daryl Robbins. Man, I learned a lot of stuff. I'm like, okay.
Oh, we're back. Almost back.
No, we're back. Go.
Hey, everyone, we're back. And geez, I have 6 or 7 minutes to talk about the credit information and increasing your cash flow. So I'm just going to jump right onto the credit piece. It does not take a lot for you to improve your credit. There are some credit repair companies out there who say they repair. Be very leery and weary who you deal with when it comes to restoring and repairing your credit. There are companies who you pay them thousands of dollars and they will, quote unquote, make it disappear. That ain't real. If you're trying to do it ethical and a firm foundation on which you can continue to build, and it's not going to come back and bite you in the butt. You guys, time out for all that. Time out for all the under the table, backdoor stuff. You got to first commit to being a person of integrity when you're trying to do something the right way. And if you're going to be a person of integrity, you can't operate in the gray. That old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, let it apply. Come on now, let it apply. So if you live in California, keeping a strong credit score is even more important for many reasons. In fact, a better credit score will help you save money and counteract the high cost of living in the Golden State when it comes to getting a mortgage, buying a home, renting. Y'all know if you're trying to rent, you can't even rent now, compete in the rental market without a good credit score. If you're applying for your dream job, most employers now check your credit. Saving on insurance premiums. I just got an email this morning saying my insurance had been renewed and my policy was lower. Better deals when it comes to auto loans or paying off your student loans. Lower rates on credit cards and other loans. Protecting yourself from ID theft, financial fraud, and data hacks. Therefore, fast credit repair is a legitimate and effective tool for consumers who want to save money. There is a company that I use, and I've used them for years. I refer them to my clients. Their information is amazing. I've not found another company like them. I've said on this show before, I'm looking for other credit restoration companies. I would rather not deal with people who say they fix your credit and you go online, you fill out their application and your paperwork gets sent to the Philippines. That's not the kind of credit restoration company that I want to work with. That's not the kind of company that I refer my clients to. If other people want to utilize those companies, that's fine. I'm not comfortable with that, probably because I've been using Blue Water Credit. And so I've been, what's the word? They've just got me at this level where this is what it's supposed to be. High customer service. They're right here in Sacramento, bluewatercredit.com. And if you sign up for Anchor Financial Academy, the instructor on the class on credit restoration will be the owner of the company, Jeff Sipes. He's been on this show before. Jeff has a testimony. If you go to their website, his own personal testimony is there. When he was in his early 20s, the amount of debt that he was in and how he turned it around, and it became his life's mission to share and learn more tools to help other people. He has a team of people that are located right here in Sacramento. They're in the Sacramento area. They're in Roseville, but they've got a team of wonderful people. As a matter of fact, as I was preparing for this show today, I got a text message from Cara from Blue Water Credit. And no kidding, I didn't reach out to them and say I was going to talk about this. She reached out to me and she said, "Hey, Keisha, we're having this event, on this day. I'm sending you the link so that you can sign up and join." And I was like, "Wait, Cara, send it to me in an email because I'm talking about credit restoration on the show today and I'll share it with my audience." So I'm going to give you guys Cara's email address so that you can reach out to her and request the link. Tell her that you heard about it on Selling Sacramento, Key Matthews, Selling Sacramento. And they are having a credit repair secrets webinar Thursday, January 27th at 2 p.m. January 27th, 2 p.m. Mark your calendar, Thursday. And it's there. She sent me the flyer. It says, "Is a low credit score holding your clients back from getting the financing they deserve? We will be discussing 7 unknown tips on how to increase your credit score by 70 points in 7 weeks." She didn't say 2 years, 7 weeks, y'all, less than 2 months. 2021 credit changes you have to know, and 5 to 10 minutes for Q&A. So reach out to her, let her know that I referred you. You heard it on 97.5 FM KDEE, Agent Key. And her email address is kara@bluewatercredit.com. kara@bluewatercredit.com. And I've got 1 minute to talk about increasing your cash flow. I'm not going to be able to legitimately do that in 1 minute, y'all. We're going to have to make this a part 2. I have special guests coming on the show. Oh, the 2nd. That's Wednesday. That's 2 more weeks. So we can finish this next week. Okay. So tune back in next week and we'll finish part 2. That's great because that'll give me more time to dive into this cash flow piece, you guys. Okay. So listen, tune back in next week. Jelena says, today is an awesome day. Just finished a seminar with KDEE and now hearing you and your most informative program. Thank you. You are welcome. You are welcome, Jelena. Ernestine said she established after becoming a widow in 2013. I was unemployed and the spouse didn't believe in credit cards, cash only. I'm very proud of myself that 2015 started a new credit life. That is a huge blessing. That's a blessing. And that's how we want to be, right? We want to be as cash-free, as debt-free as possible. Not cash-free, debt-free as possible. Great information. Thank you, Zadell. Thank you all for tuning in. You've been listening to 97.5 FM. Remember, it's brought to you by Matthews & Company Realty Group, where I am the agent, broker, and owner. And if you are looking to buy or sell, feel free to contact me at agentkee.com, agent KEE.com. Click on the tab in the upper left. Send me a note. Let me know what it is that you're looking to do, buy or sell, and I'm happy to help you. And remember, if you are doing what you were created to do, I will see you at the top.
That's your old name for a second there?
Say that again.
You forget your old name?
I fumbled over it. This is like KDE. Did I say KDEE or KEE?
Even when you recorded it, you'd be like, man, KDEE. All right, I got them all, man.
Hey, everybody. Thank you all for watching. Y'all know what time it is. I got to go find something to eat. Have a great one and come back next week. We'll finish part 2. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.